Okay, look at one. This is a regular version 1 GM Japanese. This is the version 2. Downside with the version 1 is its arms tend to fall off a lot. It's not terribly flexible. Problem with the version 2, ridiculously hard to get. Just ridiculously. And then there's the Gundam version 1.5 with a GM head on it. This could be a good start. And then, you know, for other GM parts, there's GM Custom. So the question is, how can we make this Gundam body here, I knock down, look like a regular GM? For the most part, I think it's best to base off the GM version 2. Now the head is going to need some work. In fact, it might be possible just to make copies of this head, but I don't know a lot about molding yet. Now the lower torsos are pretty much the same. If you were to shave this out and fill in that gap that it would leave, and the same for the back, that could work pretty well. You'd have to take the things off the sides as well. So you got a lot of cutting there. The arms and the shoulders are practically the same. The head might need a little work. Now, these are more square, and that might get hard to do. That might get hard to do. Feet are good. No real changes necessary there. No real changes necessary for the legs, except for the knees. There he goes again. So, yeah, that's the idea. Oh, backpack. If you cut off this part right here, then you have your standard GM backpack. It's that easy. So, that's not too hard. Question is, what steps to take after that? So I just did the backpack. It only has one hilt now. It's a lot better. More like a GM. Okay, so I've roughly removed the front and side pockets. The side pockets are pretty well done. My wife is a lot more detailed at cutting than I am, so I'll probably have her clean it up, because she's very, very detailed. She is the one that makes my new GM Special Forces. So, yeah, it's looking like a GM. Just a quick test shot. This is what the GM version 2 head looks like on it. Now imagine that it's red, GM red, on its shoulders and upper torso, and the front of its torso is flat. Be pretty close. My wife wants me to go to bed, but I'm staying up just a teeny bit longer. I did it. I cut off the front, I cut off the back, and I cut off the sides. Need some putty to fill in. It needs these sanded down, made nice and flat. Maybe my sanding block can do it. Almost there. It just needs these and a copy of that head or something. Better go to bed. Okay, so I filled in the gaps that were left behind with epoxy putty, and it's gonna take about 45 minutes to dry, become permanent. So I think I'm just gonna go on a date with my wife and wait for my project to dry. The good news is, a friend of mine has said he will make molds of the GM version 2 head for me. The only downside is that the making of this video, he's going to make a new mold system, pressure mold system, which supposedly would be necessary for these kinds of parts. So that might be a month or two before I have the head that I want, but beggars can't be choosers. Okay, so I'm still gonna go on my date, but I just couldn't wait. So I decided to do the knees. And what I did was I took off the bottom leg, turned it upside down, and at this point here I just cut downwards at an angle. And this one came out better than this one, so this one will need some shaving to meet up, but they look great. I mean, wow. Now, aside from, you know, the remains of his pockets, there's not that much that doesn't make him look like a GM. And really, I don't mind their difference of no joint being here and a joint being here, because if you look at Gundam Crossfire, they look more like this. And that makes sense because articulation. If this moves, you know, if this has a slit in it, then his legs have more freedom than like that. I've seen that done with Azaku. My brother got once. He bought it in a lot, and somebody had cut little slits in Azaku's skirt, and Azaku had a lot more free range with his legs. So yeah, maybe I should do that if I'm animating. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about replacing my Zaku version 1s with standards or version 2s, if I can find version 2s. I don't know. Anyways, that's it on the GM update for this time. Okay, GM 1.5 vlog, whatever. My wife has modded the head, made it look a lot like a normal GM. The backpack is done. I have sanded the GM down. I have also, so you can see the pocket remnants are gone. Front and back, the legs are pretty much done. This one could probably be used a little more sanding right there, but still all in all very good. He's ready to be painted. I removed a lot of the paint and the color off it with a nail polish remover and a lot of elbow grease. And so yeah, my wife bought a small drill bit to drill head Vulcans in him, and I'm hoping that somebody would be willing to make molds of this custom-made head so that other people can build GM 1.5s or something. Maybe I'll build them and sell them in my store, I don't know. But I'll probably actually build myself an army of GM 1.5s and phase out my GM version 1s. But more to come later. Okay, I'm not sure what I said last time, but this will be my second to last piece on the GM 1.5. I've decided that I'm going to have Faceboy89 paint them for me. Hopefully I'll win the contest and be able to have some money go towards that, but I don't know. We'll see. So let me show you what he was. This was the Gundam version 1.5. Not to be confused with the Gundam version 2, has the extra joints and the opening cockpit, because that's Gundam version 2. However, the same thing could be repeated pretty easily. The problem is Gundam 1.5s are a little bit harder to get. And this would be the second one I've gotten ever. I'm kind of jealous. Spew 2001 has like 4 or 6 of them. Oh well. I tend to get a lot of this guy with my business, and so I could easily reproduce the GM 1.5. The idea is to have a cheap GM. As I said in the beginning, there is the GM version 2, and the GM version 2 is very cool and very flexible, but it's just too expensive. I mean, it's too hard to find, and I don't have $35-40 bucks for an MSIA. I just don't have it. I mean, if I do, it's like the one I get for an entire month, you know what I mean? And like I said, he's just hard to find, so maybe he will pop up on eBay, but the odds of him being affordable and popping up are pretty slim. This one cost me 27 bucks. And that was pretty lucky. So I wanted to make more of that. It would probably be best to take the version 2 Gundam and turn him into a GM1 version 2 copy. But I don't have a lot of him. So we went with what we did have, which is the Gundam version 1.5. As I said before, what we did, anyone could make this. Really, I'm going to tell you how. Cut this off right here. Just cut it off. Sand it down a little bit. You need to cut off the pockets and cut this down a little bit so that it's flat like this. You need to do that to the sides. This takes a lot of cutting, a lot of sanding. Same with the front, you need a little epoxy putty to fill in the front there. However, if you're doing this with the version 2, you probably won't need to fill in that gap, because it's not made to go with the G-armor parts. That's why that gap is there. Nail polish remover will bleach the color out, which will help with painting. I did that I started to paint the shoulders, but decided not to. I want better paint. The shoulders are exactly the same. The head, I used a ground type GM. My wife cut off the little nub at his chinny chin chin, and she used a really small drill bit that you could probably get at a hobby store or a hardware store, and when she drilled in head Vulcans, which look pretty good. What ideally one would do would be to cast this part right here, and hopefully a friend of mine will someday have a pressurized casting means and make me a bunch, and then I'll build these. Still got the same core block system of the Gundam. Not that one has to pretend that it can turn into a core fighter, but you cut here, so you can see the difference on the knees. I just took a knife upside down and cut it, and sanded it a lot, trimmed it up a bit, and really that's it. There you go, GM 1.5. It needs a red color scheme and some white down here in the torso and here in the lower torso to make it match a little bit more. And yeah, there you go. Figure has the same flexibility as the Gundam version 1.5. You know, arms go around, has an elbow goes back a little bit, hands turn, you know, head turns, legs. So yeah, I mean, nothing you guys don't already know. So this is my GM version 1.5 completed, minus the paint. Let me know what you think, and I don't know, just what you think. I worked pretty hard on this. Oh yeah, you fill in these gaps too with epoxy putty. Forgot that. They're for connecting with the G-armor parts. Like I said, doing this with the Gundam version 2 would probably be more effective, but I didn't have a spare at that time. Catch you guys later. Hope you enjoyed my contest entry. Bye.